Hey everyone, welcome back. It's been over a year since I've done this last, so let's do it again. Every Brawlhalla character's best signature. As per usual, we've got my pick for the best sig, and then an honorable mention because, let's be honest here, it is so difficult to pick a best sig since all the sigs are good for different reasons. But this time around, a little bit of a twist, okay? For the honorable mention, I decided to weigh uniqueness as a huge factor for my choice. If it offers the legend something new, something unique, something that other legends can't access, maybe it's niche, maybe it's cheese. Some may call it cheese. I call it well, also cheese, but it's like it's a good cheese. It's like Gouda or fettuccine. That's not, nobody cares. Okay, let's just start this thing. Also, obviously, if a sig is so extremely good, I can't just not include it in an honorable mention slot. With that out of the way, though, let's start with Aydah, who is Spear's side sig. I believe this was my choice for her also last year, and it's still the same. Part of the reason why is Spear's biggest drawback is that it can't really KO on the ground. In order to do so, you gotta land with a Sayer, you gotta land with a ground pound. Both higher commitment than just being able to do something on the ground, like, I don't know, guns, able to do something like that. This is not gonna kill because she's not at kill percent. But Aydah, on the other hand, has got a move like this. This move, not only does it have an insanely good hitbox, if you take a look at this, this is going to cover a huge area in front of you very, very quickly, as well as if you GC it like this, you're going to be able to hit on the ground and in the air. If we make a Scarlet here jump, we can see bada bing, bada boom, that still hits. 26 damage, nothing to scoff at. Quick startup, you're not really able to react to the startup of this, excuse me, much less so also if you're playing against Heat Blast, since the audio cue gives you a little bit of a heads up. Heat Blast is, you know, one of those crossovers. But yep, that's my pick for this. Grounded spear kill option, very strong, very good, very quick. The honorable mention this time around is going to be the Blaster's Nsig. Once again, uniqueness is a huge factor for me, and this offers Aydah a unique option that a lot of Blaster's characters just don't have. You saw it right there, an edge guard from above, from high in the sky, with a good amount of force. Now, damage is a little bit lacking unless you hit every single shot. Most of the time you won't be, especially if you're using it in the air. Only one of them will likely connect since they don't lead into each other like they do on the ground, but it's just a super good option to cover a lot of space. Also, if you're trying to make it back to stage, you can do something like this. Get a lot of height, a lot of distance. You're doing a reverse edge guard. You knock someone off stage like this, they're trying to come back. You can edge guard them. Did I say edge fart? I need to stop talking, but yeah, you can edge guard them while coming back to stage like that. It's super good. You know, uniqueness, huge factor here. So there we go. There's Aydah. Next up, we got Artemis. Now, Artemis, last time I think I snubbed it a little bit, this signature right here. I mean, I think everyone expected this. This move has been buffed a lot. It used to be pretty awful. Honestly, one of the worst land sigs. Now it's one of the best land sigs. You can see right there, it does a good amount of damage, but that's not really what's important. What's important is the hitbox and the KO power. Lance is another one of those weapons that really struggles to kill on the ground, and light won't do it until super late. Side light will only really do it if you catch someone's dodge, and down light will just never do it. But you don't gotta worry if you have this move, because this is a grounded kill option, one of the best at that. The bounce back also makes it harder to punish, and overall, I mean, it's just super quick. The movement is super great. As you can see, you cover a lot of distance. If I do it from right here, it'll still hit, and I'm relatively safe. The bounce back, if you aren't familiar, it's known as Hertbox Manipulation. Hertbox is this little bubble. That's where you can get hurt. The way you get hit is if someone's hitbox that they send out like this connects with your Hertbox like that. And if you can move your Hertbox out of the way, that's obviously a good thing because, well, if someone's trying to hit you, you've moved out of the way. It isn't always a good thing. Sometimes your Hertbox can move you into danger of getting hit or something like that, but 9 times out of 10 with this sig, it's gonna help more than hurt because, I mean, you're moving forward and then moving back safely. It's kind of just a win-win. Very good signature. I'm gonna take these away because they're a little distracting. It's like little big peas on my screen. I don't like peas. Anyway, let's move on to Scythe. Scythe Nsig is my honorable mention. It's good, it's got strings, but the reason why I'm picking it this time around, I believe last time I picked Side Sig over it, is because Scythe really has a lot of threat on the ground. You gotta worry about a lot of setup tools, and the way that people play against Scythe oftentimes is to try and float away, but with this move, you can kind of cover that float, and you can reel back and cover it even higher with the charge. It's just super solid, very quick. Yeah, it's very difficult to react to because it doesn't have any huge audio cue. The thing that you're going to be seeing is the change in this little silhouette here, but by that time it's already only a few frames from coming out. And okay, I'm a photographer. For Asuri, I'm picking the Qatar's Nsig. It's the classic dunk. It's the signature Asuri signature. It has crazy force. I mean, this is a low strength character, 5 if you're running the stance, and it KOs at super early HPs. Granted, this is small Brawlhaven, has lower boundaries, but I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Also, this move is super good because you can cover a multitude of dodges with it. If we set this Scarlet bot right here to neutral dodge and I charge it, that's a punish. I set her to right dodge. Come here. That's going to be a punish. If I set her to upright dodge, it's going to be a punish. I mean, there's a lot that you can punish with okay, she didn't dodge. I don't this bot is not behaving to my lecture here. Also, with the different Qatar setup location in the new patch, it's more consistent, so you can get this more consistently. I mean, you just cover a lot. You Enlight into you Enlight into an Nsig, and you got like a 45.76% chance of hitting it. So that's a good odds in my book. For the honorable mention, I'm picking the Sword Nsig because this one has the cheese factor. It just does. Look at that. That's cheese. That's just straight up cheese. You hit this move off stage, someone's reaction time is just a little bit slow, and they're gone. This is what I'm talking about. This is not a low strength character. Like, what is that force? What is that hitbox? It doesn't make sense, but it makes sense why it's here. Azoth was one of the hardest to pick in this list because all of his SIGs are kind of insane, but I'm picking the Axe Downsig for his best SIG. It's just, I mean, it's crazy. It's hard to punish. You GC it, you get more height. The amount of distance it covers, the amount of speed, the amount of force. Also, Axe, another one of those weapons. Enlight is really the biggest threat on the ground, otherwise Falling Sayer, and then Downlight has super late HP. But it's combo tool. It doesn't have a true combo to kill you because Sidelight Sayer is jumpable. So having a grounded kill option is a huge asset, and Azoth honestly has the best one in this. And also, honorable mention in this, because this SIG is the single most underrated SIG in the entire game. I almost said overrated. That's the complete opposite. I don't know why it's not Wednesday. It's not opposite. It is Wednesday, actually. Baraza, I don't think I need to take too much time on. I think it's pretty obvious what I'm going to pick based on my last list if you've watched those. And also, if you've watched me play Baraza, or if you've played Baraza, yeah, Axe Nsig is probably my favorite SIG on Baraza. The amount of KO power, it covers so many dodges. If someone's trying to dodge back into stage, they're not dodging back into the stage. They're off the stage now. They're off the game. They quit. They alt F4'd. It's one of those moves. It just totally changes the way you can play an edgeguard. And then Blaster's Downsig, again. Blaster's not the best at killing. I don't know why I said again. I didn't say that before. But this move is good at killing. It's been nerfed a bunch. Baraza SIGs in general have been nerfed a bunch, but he's still a tank. Still good. I mean, he's out of meta right now, but I'm sure that when Blasters come back into the top of the meta, he'll be back as well. Brynn was also a bit of a difficult pick, but I'm picking Axe Nsig for her best signature. It's just kind of crazy. I mean, it's very similar to the Azoth one, so it makes sense why it's good. You can cover yourself super well, and the hitbox is just ludicrous. I mean, this is straight up a beta hitbox. Look at that. Look at that coverage. Look at that coverage. It's super good. Like I mentioned, having a grounded kill option on Axe is already a very strong thing to have. And also Brynn, with her speed, she can kind of float around you, get into some weird angles, and then totally surprise you with the dash Nsig, which you are not reacting to be clear. You're just not, especially if you're on this, what is this, epic crossover. It's not a crossover, it's the battle pass thing. I made one of those videos and I don't know. This is bad. Okay, we're gonna move on to the Downsig. Now, this move actually got nerfed, believe it or not, in the damage department. Yeah, it still does 29, so that's kind of crazy, but yeah, I guess it's kind of obvious why I'm still picking it. Covers a bunch. You can land on someone, and then if they try and spot dodge, if they try and dodge down, dodge in, this covers all of those, and does a gazillion damage. You can slide charge it, cover a bunch of the wall like that. Just super good SIG, and it got nerfed, and it's still this good. So honorable mention has to go to that. All right, we got Bodvar, the old buddy, old Billy, old pal. I'm giving it to Sword Downsig. I think I did this one last time as well. This move has been nerfed recently. The hitbox was nerfed, and it's actually significant because it means that this is actually jumpable. If we set this bot to jump reaction random so that we can get a big variety of different jumps, she can actually jump out of it because this hitbox was trimmed, which is pretty big. It means that if you catch someone's dodge and they're near off stage, they're not just guaranteed dead anymore, which is nice because it's crazy. I mean, the amount of force this move has, I think that also got nerfed. I think the force also got nerfed, and it's still this good. Yeah, Bodvar is one of those characters that no matter when you'll play him in Brawlhalla history, he's always going to be good. And the same goes for his SIGs. I don't think any of his SIGs have really ever been kind of bad. Even the ones that are slow like this, the number of dodges you can cover, the force it has, it's always going to be good. So you can't really go wrong with Bodvar. So for honorable mention, I'm just going to pick this one because it's super quick. A lot of force, can edge trap people and stuff like that. And it's a great SIG on hammer because it has some range. You can threaten like that, and you can also threaten like that. So, yep, just a lot of killing power on this boy, which makes sense. He's a bear. Bears kill things, I think, in The Revenant, Leonardo DiCaprio. I'm getting so derailed. When I finish these legends. Let's just move on now. Caspian. Caspian is actually pretty interesting because I think last time I also picked this as his best SIG, and the craziest thing is that it got buffed. Like, I was like, this SIG is so underrated. It's extremely strong. I don't know why people aren't playing Caspian. This SIG is insanely broken, and then it got buffed. So yeah, Qatar Side Sig is my #1 pick. And then also, one that kind of surprised me, this one also got buffed. I don't know how long ago it was, but yeah, this reversal on the side sig on the gauntlets, it's super good. Also, okay, hold on, back up. Why is this move good? Projectile, also super fast, also KOs, and Qatars can't kill on the ground. Okay, move on, back to this. Reversal sigs in general usually get a little bit of a buff from me in terms of the uniqueness stat, because, I mean, look, if you're in a bad position and you can turn it into a good position, that means the opponent has to play a little bit differently. They have to be concerned about where they're standing, because even if they're in a good position, it can quickly, suddenly become a bad one. I try to say squuddenly. That's not, I'm making that a word. It sounds like squillium. But yeah, this move's force is also insane. I'm pretty sure that's part of how it got buffed when it did. I can't remember when for the life of me, but yeah, it's a good move. And it's pretty fun to use because you kind of just jump around. You can use it out of a downlight like that, out of a string, knock people into the air, then go all crazy hog wild. And what is hog wild? Is that when it's like a pet fair or something? Charlotte's Web? Hopefully it's not a bad thing. I don't know. Now for Cassidy, I'm going to be a little bit radical here, going a little bit rogue. I know from every single video where I talk about how good this lasso is, but I'm going to pick the side sig as her best sig. I don't know. In my mind, it's just gotten better for some reason. Maybe the threat of hammer with grounded options and nair that you can just go like this. Maybe lasso has lost a little bit of threat since the past year. I don't know. But this side sig is just crazy. It's always been good. I mean, I've probably mentioned it every time for honorable mentions when I did mention the lasso, so it's not like it's that radical or that different. But yeah, you can do weird combos like that if you hit it correctly on the ledge and get a true combo out of side sig. I think I'm spacing it just slightly incorrectly there, but the point stands. You see how good it is. It's quick. You're not reacting to it. It's got the damage. It's got the force. It's got the angle, and it's got the swagger. Of course, you're spinning around a couple times. They're gonna be spinning in circles, wondering how to beat you. And then the lasso is the honorable mention. Cross. I'm very excited to talk about Cross actually. Not only because he's still somehow extremely underrated, especially sig-wise, but I also got a code for Hellboy the other day. I want to play him. Reminds me of Ruagok. That's my favorite guy. But yeah, Nsig is the move I'm picking for his best signature. I mean, you can string it out of downlight if they don't have a dodge. Very difficult to escape that one. Also, it just kills. Look at this. Let's make Scarlet jump here. Bada bing, bada boom, you're dead. Okay, bada bing, bada boom. That's what this move is. Bada bing, bada boom. You can't react to it because it's so fast. It can spike. It can send at weird angles sometimes, send upwards or semi-upwards, semi-spike. It's got a lot of different angles, and also the longer you charge it, the higher up you jump, so you can cover someone's dodge. If they try and spot dodge, you can still catch it with the same amount of timing. You just have to react to, which direction they're going in. It's just super good. One of those moves that you probably know if you're a cross player and you just like secretly don't want it to get nerfed because it's kind of absurd. Every legend has one of those sigs, and this is the one for cross. Honorable mention is a very similar one. The side sig has a ludicrous amount of force and also a deceptively long hitbox. Case in point. Look at that. Look at that. Did I hit that? Kind of. I guess so. That's a KO for me. This one also strings out of downlight, so that's cool. Diana is one of those characters where it sort of feels like her best sig has been shuffled around as patches have come and gone. She used to get balanced all the time. There was a point at which this sig killed in like light yellow. Clearly, it's still super good, but she hasn't been really patched in a while. I'm going to give it to the Nsig because not only can you string it out of downlight like this, but you can actually true combo it out of downlight. If you hit with the very last frames, it's going to be a true combo. You're kind of doomed. Also, it has this weird wall spike property like that. If you land it with a slide charge or a gravity cancel, you can kill someone way earlier than expected. And also, of course, I mean, not only does it have this brutal angle, I don't know if I even mentioned that. Brutal angle, of course, yes, good. But also, I'm sure you're familiar with this if you've watched any of the previous Diana videos, or previous videos where I talked about Diana, rather. You have the trap. I mean, if you condition a dodge, you can cover every single option with either an Nsig or a side sig. And for that reason, I'm also going to give the honorable mention to the side sig, because in conjunction with Nsig, it kind of makes Diana's kit complete. You can do stuff like this, where if someone's trying to dodge away, you hit him with a side sig. Oh no, whatever will I do? I'm going to dodge down this time. No, you're not. You're going to die. Next stock. I'm going to dodge left this time. I'm going to dodge in, okay? No, you're not. You're dead again. I like Diana a lot. She's one of those rare characters where it really feels like every single one of her signatures just works together to form a complete kit, so, it takes a lot to master her. I really like characters like that, and so that gets a bit of a buff in my book in terms of the honorable mention for the uniqueness slot. They gotta use them together. But let's move on now to Dusk, who is also one of my favorite characters, in all honesty. This is shout out to P-Man. I honestly had a pretty hard time deciding between side sig and down sig. Down sig, super good edge guard tool. You can kind of do it from very safe Very nice move, especially on the orb because you have all these different ledge trap tools, and this is just one more to add to your kit. But I'm gonna go with the side sig. It's just so solid, it's hard not to pick it. It's a quick 1-2. It also has the Koji side sig property where you can charge it a little bit and still get it true, and then get an earlier kill than you would have otherwise. Also, it does mental damage. That's a huge factor. When you charge it on someone, yeah, that's tech right there. You gotta learn that one in the school books, but mental damage. For his honorable mention, I was really tempted to pick the whip. I mean, it's just a fun move to hit. Everyone likes hitting the whip. Very satisfying, but I'm gonna give it a side sig. This move is just too insane not to pick for honorable mention. I don't know. It just seems extremely underrated. This is another one of those SIGs that has been it's not shadow buffed. It's just, you know, not a lot of people play Dusk. So when it gets buffed, a lot of people don't think about it or they don't talk about it. But it's very difficult to punish. I mean, it has very low recovery frames. And also the startup, although it has a good amount of startup, you can't really react to it because a lot of it is just, you know, movement positioning. This sort of looks like his movement animation when it's played quickly. So it's hard to tell that he's actually doing a side SIG. And then by the time you get hit by it, you're like, oh. And by the time you react to him doing it, you're not going to be able to punish because it's already hard to punish. I don't know why I keep talking faster and faster as I keep going along. I just can't shut up. Ember is bow Nsig. This is one of the best SIGs in the entire game. Its hitbox, I mean, just look at this hitbox. This is crazy, the amount of coverage it has. Not only is it grounded, but it covers all that area in the air as well. It's pretty easy to hit, in all honesty, unless you're like only trying to hit it in a match. Shoutouts to the Battle Pass missions. That was a struggle. But yeah, it's just super good. It covers the ledge very, very well because if someone's trying to get back, not only do you cover them coming back to the wall or coming back to the ledge, but you cover them jumping in the air as well. You can also back up and do it if someone's trying to jump bait and stuff like that, and you'll move a little bit forward. That's the wrong input. So, you know, even if you're moving backward, you can still move forward with it, which is always a good thing to have. Also, out of sidelight, it covers a bunch of dodges as well. I'm not going to go through every single one of them because then we'd be sitting here for a millennia. But yeah, it's a good move. Qatar side sig is my honorable mention because I like it. For Fate, I mean, we know what's coming, right? We've been there and back again. Call me Bilbo Baggins, okay? It's Nsig. It's Orb Nsig. This move, how many times has it been nerfed? I cannot count, and it's still high. No, I mean, like, literally, I cannot count. I don't know what comes after 7. But yeah, it's just super good. And then sidelight into Nsig. If they don't have a dodge, they get hit by it. It's just over. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know how long the SIG is going to be this good, but probably forever because that is bigger than 7. And then I don't know why I swapped weapons because we all know this one is the other one. Like we know, right? Like I don't have to do this one anymore. We know Fate, right? For Nash, I'd feel bad if I didn't pick Hammer Side SIG. This hitbox, this is not a real hitbox. We're not playing the same game. I think I also picked this one last year, which makes sense because I don't think it's been touched. And if it has been touched, I haven't noticed it. But also I'm not really a good source of information, as you can clearly tell, so maybe don't listen to me. But yeah, it's just so strong. And the amount of coverage, the Hertbox Manipulation, similar to the Artemis move, it kind of changes where you're standing, which is very good. And then priority-wise, yeah, this will beat like everything. So, you know, good going on that one if you're a Nash player. Gotta start using this one. I was gonna say this one for the cheese tactic, the cheese factor. What did I say at the beginning of the video? I think it was factor for honorable mention, but honestly, I've got to give it to the Spear Nsig. This move is still insanely good. Speaking of hitboxes, like, yeah, I think I mentioned this one last time too. It's crazy. It also hits on the ground too. It's hard not to pick it. It's like, yeah, I can pick the funny cheese ones that, to be clear, they're also not funny cheese ones. They're also insanely good, to be perfectly clear here. But it's hard not to pick this one. I feel like when you're playing Nash's Spear, you just have access to an insane dodge punish, insane amount of control, because it hits on the ground. Can I repeat that? That's the wrong move. It hits on the ground, and then covers all this airspace. It's crazy. Dodge punishes for days, as you can clearly see. Nash is a very good character, and I am terrified. But Tori's honestly a little bit difficult to pick. She's got a bunch of good SIGs, so I'm going to give it to the Spear side SIG because it gets that buff, that boost, that bonus from being a grounded Spear kill option. And also this Spear plant in the ground has a pretty big hitbox, so that you can use it in GCs as well and still hit people on the ground. It's fast, you can't react to the startup, so you know, it's a good one. I totally missed. For an honorable mention, I'm going to pick Sword side SIG because in the most recent patch, it got a much needed change that makes it so much better. It's like a tiny change, but it makes it so much better, which is that you're not stuck here forever when you're using it. It used to be that when you land this move, you're in more lag than when you miss it. And so if you're in white, you're just stuck here. And then you're like, okay, well now I can play evenly again instead of like being able to push an advantage. Now you can push an advantage, and it also gets a huge buff in 2s because of that, because now it can be used in team combos and stuff like that. Also reversal, honorable mention, gets bonus points, yada yada yada. I don't think I even showed that you can do that. Yeah, no, it was a funny joke, haha. Idiot, stupid, shut up. Isaiah has a bow Enlight for a SIG, so that's, I mean, that's just, how can I not pick this? How can I not pick this? Someone's gonna say, look at the hitbox, and I retort with this image. I don't actually know if I'm going to put an image there, so we're going to have to hope that I remember to do that later. But basically, because of the way that hitboxes and hurtboxes work, the size of the circle actually doesn't really matter. It's the positioning that matters because, again, you're these big beans. All that has to happen is this tiny circle to conflict with a bean, okay? And if the bean is big and the little circle is small, it doesn't really matter because, you know, you do the equation bean big, small bean, and it still hits. Because, you know, the coverage, if you get a 50% of the hurtbox and you put that on both sides, you get the diameter, you get the radius. The radius on both sides of every hitbox is the side of a hitbox because it's circular and radial and never changes unless it becomes oval, but then it's still the same shape. It's just a little bit different. Wow, I missed that. This sig sucks. Honorable mention, I'm giving it to the side sig because nobody knows the actual recovery time of this move unless you're an Aydah player, and so nobody punishes this, ever. I mean, it's so fast. This is another one of those things that got buffed and then nobody really talked about it because not many people play Aydah. But yeah, this is very difficult to punish. I don't know how many of y'all watched DreamHack Rotterdam 2019. Wow, that was 2 years ago. That's kind of crazy. Boomy used this sig to win with Aydah. Not exclusively to win, but he used it en route to winning with Aydah because it's very difficult to punish in a tournament scenario. Also, it gets a bit of a bonus because it's a KO move on the blasters, which kind of struggle to KO on their own. So that's nice. You also summon a little drone guy, and I like the drone guy. His name is Ralphio in the lore. Don't double check that one, but yeah, it's nice, it's cute, it's a nice adorable signature. I honestly hope that he got a crossover so you can summon like a little boy or a monkey or something. That would be fun. Nsigs have been nerfed since last year's video. They're not nearly the monstrosity they were on release. Still very, very strong. You know, take a look at this hitbox. Kind of crazy, kind of insane. This looks like it's beta, except it came out last year. But did he come out last year? God, time isn't real. But yeah, it's just huge on Greatsword because you can use it out of strings and stuff like that. Cover a bunch of area. I feel like it's debatable, maybe a bit of a toss-up with Mako's Downsig as for the best Greatsword sig in the game. But it's definitely between one of those two, or this one, honestly. But yeah, the force field, the classic, the rocks. This move, if you're struggling in low elo against this move, I understand because I'm struggling in high elo against this move. So I feel your pain. The honorable mention slot is going to the side sig on the sword. You probably saw this one coming. It's the pocket sand. This is one of my favorite sigs in the entire game. It's just so fun to use. You kick sand at people. That's all I want in life, is to kick sand at people. It's like a beefed up version of Wushang's spear side sig, which is probably the best side sig in the game, or best spear sig in the game, excuse me. And so having it on sword is obviously a huge asset. And also, I like having sand in my ass. Like Jaehyun, Jala has a lot to pick from. She's kind of a sig beast. That's gonna KO. That's crazy. I'm still giving it to this move though. I feel like this is one of the best sigs in the entire game. 28 damage, super speed, a lot of coverage, great hitbox. It's like a second downlight but better. And yeah, I don't know. It's hard to not pick this one when it's been so good for so long. But it has. You can win entire matches just using this. I think I actually said that last year. I can't remember. I don't remember anything I say like 4 minutes ago. So I will be very surprised if I remember anything from a year ago. But yeah, this sig, it's just crazy. On an already crazy sig character, to have a move this good, like maybe top 10 sig in the game, it's like a buff on top of a buff. It's like giving the Hulk muscle milk. Like, why would you do that? I don't know. Don't ask me. But this one, I'm going to give honorable mention to Axe Downsig. Grounded Axe KO option, so it gets a bit of a buff. Also, you go spinny winny, and I like that. And you get momentum when you use it with a dash, or, you know, when you have momentum, chase dodge, stuff like that. Which is great because you can use it to slide off stage, get an earlier kill than you would otherwise, and also GC when someone's trying to land on you with Axe or something like that, or, you know, you're too slow to punish someone because Axe is a slower weapon. Bada bing, bada boom, that's the KO, and 35 damage. Nice. Now, Jiro's probably the character that has changed the most in this list from last year because I think I said this is his worst sig because this was one of the worst sigs in the entire game. It has been buffed a lot, and now it is unjumpable out of downlight, aka if you don't have a dodge, this is guaranteed hitting and killing because its force also got buffed a lot. Now, I talked to Jiro about this. I talked to Phazon about this. Sorry, he's gonna be mad about that. To ask him what the honorable mention should be, because of course this side sig has to be the best one. I was debating between this one and then this one, but he said it was gonna be the down sig on the sword because of the force buffs, and honestly, yeah, it makes sense. For Kaya, I don't think it's a surprise here. Grounded sig option with the spear down sig. Just super solid move. Very, very good all around. It's very similar to the Brynn's. Doesn't deal nearly as much damage, but it has some utility because it's always active when you charge it, aka doing this is a very valid strategy. You know, someone's trying to dodge back to the wall, dodge up to the wall. It'll cover both of those, can guarantee some knockouts. It's just nice to have as well on spear. If someone's trying to approach you, you can sometimes struggle right in your face because this has a dead zone right here. But backing up with this is a nice and easy option to get someone off your back and hit them off stage. It's very good. Kaya players, you know, they use it a lot for good reason. Honorable mention for Kaya is the bow Nsig. It's just fun to slide around and make an owl. Yeah, you cannot deny it. It's a satisfying move to use. So of course it gets bonus cool points for that. But also, I mean, it's just a good move. It's just solid all around. Killing off the top is good usually with bow, because or hitting up to the top, I should say, because even if you don't KO, a lot of your kill moves do. So, you know, you're closer to the top now after getting hit by that Nsig, and now my recovery will knock out. It doesn't have the most force, but none of Kaya Sigs do because she's not really a force character. So that's not really a drawback I can give to it in comparison to the other Sigs. And also, you can kind of change up your movement super quickly because of the quick dash. It is a bit of a commitment, you know, if you go like this and they don't jump, suddenly you're in their range, but if they do jump, well, goodbye. So Koji's Bow Downsig was actually nerfed this patch, I believe in terms of hitbox size, frame data, and stuff like that. But then you look at this, and then it's still a little bit kind of crazy and kind of, you know, wild bonkers. So still gets the pick from me. Last time I made a joke about Ed and Eddie. This time I'll make a joke about Freddy. Okay, I was going through the honorable mention, and then my game crashed. And then also I remembered that I didn't talk about this Sig at all, so let's do that a little bit. I mean, it's got a perfect hitbox. This is really everything you could ever want in a bow Sig. Also, it hits people on the ledge like this, so, you know, even if they think they're safe, sneaky peeky come back on stage, do some breakdancing, and now they're hit with a plank. And I like planks, once again, as previously established. And bow really doesn't have a super strong close range force move, because Endlight is really the best thing, and that doesn't kill until super late. Otherwise, you gotta back up if you want to get your true combos, or they gotta be in the air. But on Koji, you have this, so your opponent always has to be wary of that. They always have to play around it, especially with the GC, because that covers the ground as well. And if someone is trying to catch you, similar to the axe thing I mentioned earlier, I think it was with Jala. Yeah, it was. If someone's trying to track your movement, you don't have anything to do. Bada bing, bada boom. I think I say bada bing, bada boom too much, but I say a lot of things too much. I talk too much. That's what people say in my videos, that I talk too much. But it's my video. I can do what I want. Honorable mention goes to Sword Nsig. It's a pretty good move on its own. You can cover a lot of ground. If someone's trying to jump in on you, it's a perfect move to punish it because of the long active frames. But the reason why it gets this slot in particular is because you can actually get it into a true combo off of downlight if you space it correctly. Do the dodge down. It's super good. It's one of those few downlight true combos out of Sword. Wow, I couldn't speak there. That is still in the game, so better use that one while you still can. Max spacing, make sure to hit it with the first hit. If you don't land the first hit, it's not going to be true. But if they don't have a dodge, you don't really got to worry about it anyway. But yeah, there you go, and it kills. By the way, I would like to formally apologize. My rambling today has been worse than usual. I'm pretty sleep deprived, so if you couldn't tell, if it wasn't obvious. So I'll try and tone it back a little bit as I'm running on fumes here. But Gauntlet Downsig on the core is my pick for his best. On Jake, it looks bigger than it actually is, but, you know, it's still one of those Sigs that is just absolutely ludicrous in terms of hitboxing and in terms of coverage for a weapon like Gauntlets that doesn't really have that type of easy access early killing move, especially now that the 3-piece was removed, Downlight Nair into recovery. That is no longer a true combo that you can just get super early. So grounded killing moves get a bit of a bump for me. And then honorable mention, if we're talking cheese, this is the cheese move. Your arm extends like cheese. Sorry, no, bad. Okay, anyway, you can use it off stage, kill super early, and it still has the side charge mechanic where you just keep going down. So if you hit someone, you keep going down even further. Let's see if I can do it on the spot. I am so awful, it's insane. How can you be so bad? I don't know. Anyway, let's hit this bot off stage here and do it real quick. Yep, you keep traveling down as you go down, which is not normal, because normally you stop for a little bit, but this time you're not stopping for change. Nope! Shut up. Lin Faye, I really don't think has been targeted by any balance patches recently, but even if she was, I feel like my mind wouldn't change here about Kennen Nsig being her best move. I mean, it's a light attack on Kennen. It is really what it is. It KOs a little bit like a light attack, not super early, but I feel like that's more Lin Faye's archetype than anything else, because it still KOs earlier than you may think. It hits on the ground, it hits in the air, and an arc above you. It's very difficult to punish. Because you have Cannon, you can kind of zoom out of there, or you can do one of these, punish someone trying to hit you on the ground. You get out of it super early, so you can jump, you can dash, and everything like that. And yeah, if you're struggling against this move, then try and think about it like a light attack. I know a lot of people get super frustrated against Lin Faye because they're like, I just can't punish this Sig, and all they're doing is spamming Sigs. But if you think about it like a light attack, and in terms of punishing it like a light attack, then it becomes more clear, I would say. Or at least it's easier to handle, because it's like, oh, she's not just using a Sig that's super powerful. It's like a light attack that's super powerful, I guess. I don't know, there seems to be like a mental block thing against signatures. People don't really like when people use SIGs a lot. But that's neither here nor there nor anywhere. This signature is the honorable mention, this Downsig. If you use it off stage or if you use it as a GC, you get this little mini dragon head. If you use it on the stage, you get a bigger dragon head with a bigger hitbox. One of them spikes and one of them doesn't. This one's good either way. Use it like this, you can cover a big area around the lip, and then if you use it right here, you can cover under the lip. If someone's trying to aggress on you, do a little bit of a backup. Sticky situation, sticky no longer, and now you're in the advantage situation. A bearded dragon is a sticky dessert. That's a I need to shut up. Lucian Qatar side sig is still my pick for Lucian's best signature. I don't know, it just feels like whenever I play him, if my movement is precise, if it's good enough, I can always rely on this move to get a KO. Maybe I bob and weave in and out. Lucian's speed definitely helps with that, and then I could do a quick dash impulse side sig. It's so quick that they can't react to it, and also you cover a lot of ground very quickly. It kills off the top, which is good because horizontal distance on the map doesn't really matter that much. I think I said horizontal. That would be a pun, which would not be acceptable in these lands. Yeah, it's just really, really good. Also, sidelight into side sig. Maybe you catch someone's dodge, not if you knock them off stage. You get something like that. If they spot dodge, try and escape it, because you can get a true endlight now in current patch, and endlight can now set up into an unjumpable recovery in current patch, so that's scary. I hit my window ski. For the honorable mention, I'm giving it to Lucian's Qatar Downsig. I mean, this is just the cheese sig. If we're talking cheese factor, this is just a perfect example right here, where it's not super great all of the time because you can react to the startup, but if someone's mental stack is overloaded, if they dodge in the wrong position, they die super early. And it's crazy because Lucian really is not a cheese character. He has super low strength, high speed. He's a nickel and dime type of guy. He doesn't kill you super early. So when you land something like this, it's just a huge asset. Obviously, the downsig of this, or the downside of the downsig is that it doesn't kill super early when you're not off stage, but when you are off stage, that's a 3 strength character, by the way. I actually made a couple videos on Magyar SIGs already, so if you've seen those, then you probably know what to expect here. But yeah, this SIG is insane. The Greatsword Downsig, it's a retreating SIG, so it changes your Hertbox, like I mentioned earlier. That can be a very good thing. And also its hitbox is effectively Onyx cannon side SIG, but on a Downsig, and also on Greatsword. So that move is, I mean, you probably know that that's coming for Onyx, so bit of a spoiler alert. Spoiler, sorry. Good amount of force, good amount of distance, and also good amount of ledge trapping. It changes your movement, or changes your position pretty quickly, so it's hard to react to. And then also, even if you do react to it, oftentimes maybe you'll try and jump out. Because of the wide hitbox, jumping out will not save you. And it's also pretty safe to throw out a lot of the time because, you know, you have a good amount of distance, and you can punish someone like this. Just cover all this ground. Use it out of strings, cancel it out of your Greatsword combos, your crombos. Very good move. Honorable mention goes, of course, to this move, because it's very, very cool, and you stab yourself, and that does damage to them, and it kills very early, and also has this very steep angle. Hard to punish move because of that angle. Also, the amount of floatiness that it gives you is good. You know, it doesn't leave you stuck too long, but also you don't lose too much downward momentum, so, you know, that's nice. But honorable mention, if you're on a map like Demon Island or Shipwreck Falls, it's this one because it covers the entire wall. So that's a honorable mention subparticle 2 if you're reading the subset. You know, also this true combos, but kind of inconsistently, so I didn't include it. Sorry. Alright, let's make a Downsig. I mean, we all saw this one coming. We saw this one coming since the early dev stream first announcement gameplay analysis trailer. We didn't know how insane it would be. Kind of lived up to the expectations and more, but yeah, it's a crazy signature. And it got nerfed this patch. A significant amount, mind you. Like 6 frames or so to the startup, which is, you know, a pretty big deal. And then, you know, a little bit of wave reduction. As you can see, still got quite the waves here. My voice didn't crack there. It was your imagination. Yeah, on Greatsword, it's perfect. You can use it out of strings. Use it to GC, still catch people. Let's see. Scarlet recovery here. No, I mean, it still hits like that. Off stage, you can slide charge it, get a little whirlpool hitbox. I didn't even release that. I didn't even press a button. The game played for me. I pressed the wrong one there. See, when I do press buttons, I press the wrong ones. That's the thing about this SIG. The more you use it, the worse you get. That's not a guarantee, but it out-prioritized the unarmed recovery there. I mean, Clash is always out-prioritized, but the fact that it would even get down there is kind of crazy. Yeah, it's just a 10 out of 10 move. Even despite the nerfs, I would still probably put it as one of the top 10 SIGs in the entire game, which is saying something, right? There's a lot of good SIGs. So it just does everything. I think visually is enough to kind of see why it's so good, but gameplay-wise, if you haven't given it a shot and dropped every single time you hit it, then you aren't really, I guess, learning the true Mako experience. That one dropped and still hit. Honorable mention goes to the Beyblade. This move also was nerfed. It's no longer the insanity that it was, but still very, very good. Low amount of recovery frames, not as low, mind you, as it used to be. Active frames, you can use it as a sidelight, cover a bunch of dodges, all good, all great, all fun, and you can go, you know, For Mirage, I'm giving it to Scythe Nsig. This move is just so good. It's hard to give it to anything else. For as good as Mirage Sigs are, this one gets the honorable mention, by the way. You peek into the hole. Also does 28 damage, by the way. But this Nsig, the amount of force it has for how easy it is to hit relative to certain other Scythe signatures, I mean, it's just straight up a better version of Artemis's most of the time. I think I said that last video. But yeah, hitbox is crazy. The freeze frame is crazy. You can get a lot of priority with this move. In Kung Foot, it's broken, so that gets a buff from me. Yeah, it's just 10 out of 10. Strings out of sidelight as well, which is always a good thing to have. Yeah, I don't know. If you haven't played Mirage and you haven't given this Sig a try, I highly recommend it. It's just so good. Like, you just feel like you're better when you land it. It's just powerful. Mordex, he's El Clasico. You know which ones are coming. It's the Nsig on the Scythe and Downsig on the Gauntlets. It just depends which patch, which ones you're picking. And this patch, because of the sidelight changes to Scythe somewhat recently, the sidelight into the Nsig is unjumpable. You can't escape it if you don't have dodge. And if you do have dodge, well, it's going to cover like almost all of them unless you dodge away or something like that perfectly or dodge down. But if they read a dodge down, they can, you know, hit it like that and then guarantee a hit once more. Those two Sigs have always been at the top of Mordex's game, always at the top of the game, period. The fact that he has both of them is part of why he's so good and always has been so good. So yeah, the edge goes to Nsig this time around. Maybe in another patch it goes to Downsig. Downsig is so good because it dunks you from everywhere, and also you can send up if you want to, and also it's fun. And that, again, big bonus in my part of the world. It's the US. Queen Nai, unfortunately, is probably one of the least meta characters in the entire game right now because she has low speed. Speed is certainly the meta, but her Sigs are not lacking. This Sig is also probably maybe even top 10 in the game if I had to judge. Yeah, it hits on the ground, hits in the air. You can string it out of downlight. Nice and easy. Covers a lot. The hitbox is deceiving. It hits way higher than you think it will. Strings out a sidelight. Again, hitting on the ground is super good on Spear because you don't really have those killing options. On Nai, you do. And it also does 29 damage, by the way. Yeah. For the honorable mention, I'm giving it to the Downsig. This is one of those Sigs where I feel like people use it a lot and then they get punished for it because they're not throwing it out super safely. So they're like, oh, this Sig isn't as good as I thought it was. And then they stop using it entirely. But it's really actually super good because it covers a lot of dead zones that Spear could have, covers the ledge super well. And then even if they get past it, even if they're going to punish you, if you throw it out safely, you can kind of back up in time. And even if they come into your zone, you can cover the other space with this Nsig perfectly, very quickly. It's a nice 1-2 trap where they don't want to go high and they don't want to go low, because then they'll be spiked or then they'll be sent to the ceiling. And Queen Nai, the tank, obviously you want to patrol center stage. This is a perfect Sig to do it. So niche, an option that not a lot of characters have, and Queen Nai, I think she needs options that not a lot of characters have because she doesn't have a lot of speed going her way. I don't think that works grammatically. I don't think speed is something that happens to you unless you're like the Flash or something. I don't know. Anyway, Scythe Nsig on Nyx is what I'm going to pick. I know I'm not kind of showing it off right now, but this Sig has raised a lot of tiers in my mind. I think Scythe has a really good job of controlling the ground, like I mentioned before. So to have a Sig like this that covers so high in the air so quickly, I think is very valuable. Also, sidelight into Nsig now being a threat is pretty scary. And yeah, I don't know. The fact that it lingers means stuff like that can still hit. And it's so quick that you're really not reacting to the startup at all. And sometimes you may not even react to them using it because it's such a small minimal effect. I don't know. This Sig is just so strong. It has way more force than you think a character like Nyx could. And because it KOs off the top, doing something like that is very possible. I feel like Nyx is pretty similar to Diana in that all of the Sigs on her Scythe just feel perfect to use. It's like in order to master her, you really got to put in some extra time to really understand the flow and the pace and the control you have with all the different options because they're just in the perfect place. So it is really hard to pick one, but I feel like Nsig, at least for right now, seems to be the one that stands out for me. As for her honorable mention, I'm giving it to the Chi Sig, the chain. I mean, it's just so good. Blasters in general have a really good anti-air type of capability, especially if you're off stage. This nair has a lot of priority. So if you catch someone nairing and then they try to fall down, a lot of people try and punish that immediately. Like let's say they nair, now they're falling, they try and punish that. Nyx has the perfect bait for it. Grab someone, send them spike down below. A reversal Sig, a reversal spike is very good. A dunk, and it's satisfying, and it looks cool. Bonus points in my book once again. 10 out of 10 Sig. Very fun. I sort of spoiled this one already, but it's the cannon side Sig in my opinion. This move just suctions in opponents like no other move in the game. Extremely good for edge guards and off stage, as you can clearly see. It hits people below the stage, it hits people past the stage. GC once again to extend range like most other Sigs in the game. Yeah, the only thing is that it doesn't kill extremely early like it used to, only partially early like it does now. And this is gonna kill, by the way, because of those kill boundaries. Yeah, It's one of those moves where if you're playing against an Onyx cannon, it's just different than other cannons because you have to watch out for this. Also watch out for this one. And then also, honorable mention, watch out for this one. This used to be her best Sig on release. This move was actually better than Mordex's Gauntlet's Downsig on release. Believe it or not, I know, wow, crazy. It has been nerfed a bunch. Still super good though. A lot of disjoint on it, which is nice. And it's a light attack, you can't react to it. And it's a move that KOs too. So watch out for that one. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out now. I'm going on the top rope.
Please don't go on the top rope! No, I can't take it! I can't take it! Oh!
I think I mentioned this one last year. At the very least, I put it on honorable mention. But yeah, this Sig, although it looks underwhelming, is one of the best Sigs in the game. The speed at which you retreat is so good. If we're talking Hertbox displacement, it's so fast, and it's on a weapon like Lance, which people do want to walk forward against, so that it doesn't have the time to set up things like this. You can parry it and stuff like that. I mean, cover people coming back to the ledge, in the air, 45-degree angle. It's so good. This is probably the biggest disparity that I see between people talking about it and how good it actually is, because everyone talks about Orion Sigs, but I never hear Lance Downsig. And now everyone is going to tell me, well, actually, no, I said it, so you were wrong. And I am wrong. Honorable mention goes to Spirit Downsig. I mean, hits grounded, huge hitbox, does 29 damage, so yeah, good move. Since last year, I still think Petra's best Sig is her Gauntlet Nsig. It has been nerfed since then, but I mean, it hits on the ground, hits in the air. The amount of options it gives you out of something like a sidelight, it's crazy. Like, you can cover almost every single dodge. Someone's neutral dodging, oh wait, they're dead. Someone's up dodging, what's up dodge? Oh wait, they're dead. Someone's trying to right dodge, oh wait, wrong input, they're dead. Someone's trying to down dodge, okay, this one they might escape unless you fast fall it. Someone's trying to left dodge, you could call it, you're left for dead, okay? Someone's trying to upright dodge. Oh, you up dodge wasn't enough? You gotta go upright dodge? You're dead. I mean, it's crazy. Honorable mention goes to the Gauntlet Side Sig. This move, I mean, this was also nerfed since last year, and it's still so insanely good. That's the thing with Petra Sigs. It's hard to sing the praises of them enough because of how good they really are. The rush distance paired with low recovery time, also active input allows you to get some goofy combos at low HP, or if you really need to hit someone in the sky, you can do that one, like so. Earlier knockout than it would be horizontally. Yeah, in a close quarters weapon like Gauntlets, it's hard not to appreciate a move that closes distance so quickly, because even if you miss, now you're in the area of threat, and suddenly they're a bit worried because they could die at any moment. For Ragnar, I'm going to have to give it to the Qatar Downsig. This is one of those really rare moves where, despite being designed primarily for offstage, it's still super good on stage, so that's also a plus. But then offstage, of course, is where it shines. You can hit on some wonky angles like that horizontal one right there, but the downward spike is the most brutal because you're up against Qatars trying to recover on stage, and, you know, that's not a good sign. Generally against Ragnar, people wall hug like significantly longer because of the threat of this Downsig and the Nsig, and then wall hugging against Qatar is not advised because they can just come down and kill you. Yeah, it's just one of those moves that makes Ragnar's kit unique. No other Qatar legend can edge trap like he can, so yeah, very, very good move. Honorable move goes to the Axe Nsig. It's an old classic, just super, super solid. Hits in the air perfectly, as you would want with the Axe. I don't know, people are going to be jumping to avoid Axe's moves, and then you get hit by a downlight, and you're like, oh no, I can't get hit by downlight, so I'm going to avoid it, I'm going to dodge, and then you dodge through, and you still get hit by Nsig. It's one of those very, very good moves. Also very underutilized, I would say, for GCs because of how early it can possibly KO, and the hitbox extension, as you can see right there. Very good, honorable mention. Rayman's Axe Downsig is one of the moves that was hit in the Back to School balance patch, but I don't know, it still feels insanely good. It was nerfed in terms of startup, in terms of a little bit of recovery time, I believe, and force. Like, that didn't just instant knockout in the orange like it probably would have earlier. But yeah, it's still so good. It just feels like it went from ultra insanely good to now just extremely good. Yeah, it still has the priority, it still has the GC capability, the ability to gimp you super early. It's useful on stage, you can get combos off of it, just speed and ability to cover something like Demon Island extremely well, Shipwreck Falls extremely well. It's a Sig that can really never go wrong. You're probably going to use it at least once per match, if not more, which is a lot, because signatures in general aren't used too frequently compared to light attacks and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a 10 out of 10 move. When it hits hard, and yeah, it hits hard. Honorable mention goes to the Axe Side Sig, which I also believe was nerfed a little bit. Just distance, you can be super goofy with this move. You just start zooming across the map and go wee-ha, and then you make it back, and you don't even need to use your recovery to do that. Like, I was totally fine. I'm good. Yeah, it's fun to zoom around. I like ice skating. Reminds me of my youth in Canada. Reno Sigs were actually nerfed since its release, so it's a good thing we're talking about this now. Also shouts to the Reno guide that I still haven't put out there. I don't know, beginning. some anxiety attacks about that one, but I'll release it before Moonin's out, right? I think his best sig is the Blaster Side Sig. This is one of the ones that was tweaked and no longer takes you the entirety of the stage when you dash it, but still a good amount of distance and momentum. Obviously, anything that's closer to the blast zone will kill you earlier, and this move brings you to the blast zone, ignoring that I couldn't say earlier, or ignoring, or. It also has this property where if you have momentum and you're going into the air, you kind of just go flying for a little bit. So let's say you're in a map like Great Hall, on a map like Enigma, even Mammoth Fortress, if you're using it correctly, you slide charge, boom, and then it's a lot harder to punish you than your opponent may think because you get a little bonus boost of momentum. So that's always nice. Carrying people with a blast zone is always fun. G-ing it to recovery is always fun. Yeah, it's just a fun move. In general, blasters have a super good horizontal recovery because they can use exhausted to do stuff like this. And then this one is also just one more to add to that kit. So yeah, it's a good fun move, cover a lot of distance. Blasters in general, killing on the ground or killing in general, not the greatest, but if you want to zoom like a bug, you can do that with this one. That didn't KO because it's Reno. That one will though. Nice. Honorable mention goes to the Blasters Downsig. Blasters already are super good at ledge trapping, so having one more move to add into the rotation mix of these downlights, of these endlights, now you have Downsig, which will also spike downwards, so now they're entering it once more, but more damage, so at risk of losing their HP or losing their stock. It's just a win-win. It's hard to get back to stage against a Reno on the orb as well, so yeah, this Sig is just super good. Also, it's very hard to punish. It doesn't have that much recovery time, and it leaves you in the air so you can jump out like this. It's like a second dare that spikes at a different angle. It's kind of cool, and then also makes a cool sound. I'd be surprised if I also didn't put this for his best sig last year, but I think Roland's best signature is his Sword Downsig. This thing is insane. I'm surprised it hasn't been tweaked yet, though I guess it's because Roland doesn't see too much play. But yeah, this move is insane. It's so good for zoning. Like, if you see top level players using this move, they will almost never get punished for it if they space it correctly, because if you space it correctly, it's so hard to do anything because it covers not only the ground, but also the air. Sword in general is a move that can kind of zone you out if they play it correctly. You know, they're jumping around, they got the downers, they got the nairs, they got the end lights, and this is just one more tool in that already brutal arsenal. Honorable mention goes to the slap. This move, not only is it extremely satisfying, but it's also super strong. Its hitbox is one of those that is just, you look at it and you're like, oh, what? Why did I not realize this move was good? You know what I mean? Like, you don't think about this move too often, unless you're playing against a lot of Rolands, but yeah, it's one of those. It's one of those. I am so sorry, by the way. Scarlet, I don't think will be any surprise when I pick the Hammer Downsig. This is another one of the classics. It's just one of those moves that's got it all. It's got the hitbox, it's got the reversal capabilities, it's got the KO power. The KO power was nerfed recently, but is still extremely good. I mean, it's gonna kill, like, now. Okay, yeah. Also, I realize this is some team damage. Friendly fire here. We should be allies on this battlefield and not enemies, but oh well. This is one of those moves that has a surprising amount of priority. The more you throw it out, the more you'll realize how many moves it just actually beats. The distance you go with dash momentum, with impulse and stuff like that, it allows you to get an insane amount of distance of coverage. Like, you wouldn't think that this covers as much being a Downsig, but it does. It does. So yeah, and then the Downsig on Lance, it makes Scarlet's Lance edgeguards different than everyone else's because you have this huge backup cloud. Also, it's almost always the strong hit unless it like weirdly glitches, but I think they fixed most of those glitches, so you're not gonna have to worry about that anymore. And yeah, it's just super good. This is one of those moves. Also, it kills a lot earlier than you think it would, so better watch out for that one. It has this property where if you use it forward, like most reversals with momentum, you're going to move forward with it, so you can also use it as offense and not just defense, but in general, its strength shows in the defense off stage. Now for Sentinel, I'm going to pick two Sigs that were actually nerfed in this most recent patch. Qatar Downsig now does 22 base damage always instead of up to 28, which is insane for a move like this to do 28 damage. But you can still use it out of strings and everything like that. It's still super strong, very, very fast. One of the best Qatar Sigs in the game. It's hard not to sing its praises, kind of like Petra where, yeah, Sentinel just has the kit. He's got it all with the Qatars, and this is one of them, so I'm picking this one. Honorable mention goes to the Hammer Nsig because of this. And also because of 28 damage. I think Sidra's best signature is her Sword Downsig. I might have put out honorable mention last year, I can't remember, but the more I think about it, just the better it gets in my mind. Like, the hitbox, the distance, the speed, the ability to spike, the ability to recovery from everywhere. Yeah, I feel like if Sidra was played more, people would be complaining about the Sig a lot, but she doesn't get too much play rate, especially since there's characters like Zol with Cannon that I think just kind of steal the spotlight. But yeah, this is one of the best Sigs in the game. If you saw this signature on someone like, I don't know, Val instead of Val's breakdance, people would be very upset, I think. But because it's on Sidra, it doesn't get too much attention. But yeah, it's one of those SIGs that's a utility SIG, but it's also not, because it just KOs and also hits everything and also is extremely good and fast, and you can't super react to it a lot of the time. It just depends on what you're paying attention to, I guess, the movement and everything. Yeah, very good. Honorable mention, cannonballs, yeah, can have 2 hitboxes out at once, and also ledge trap super well, and also it's kind of cool, and you can be a pirate and a swashbuckler. But also honorable mention is this move, because this move, I just like the design, is kind of cool, and it goes like... Over the past couple of years, Terrace has been receiving a lot of buffs to his SIG kit, and despite getting nerfed this patch, because of all those buffs, I don't know, it still doesn't really show that much. This SIG, I'm gonna give it to Axe Downsig for his best one, is insanely good. The angles, the speed, the force, having it on Axe is super good because, again, Axe on the ground, you only really have that end light, and down light is a little bit of a threat, but you don't have the combo into killing and stuff like that. For the honorable mention, I'm going to give it to the hammer side sig. This is one of those moves that was just buffed like crazy. It got buffs to its speed, then buffs to its force, and now you just explode when you get hit by it. I mean, look at that. If you get hit off stage with this thing anywhere in this area, you're done. You're gone. And God forbid you get hit by a slide charge. It's over. It's over. I think Thatch's best is the sword side sig. I mean, on its own, incredible force, insane amount of damage, fantastic angle, fantastic hitbox, and then pair all of that. I mean, all of that, right? 29 damage and this amount of force with this hitbox, okay? And then you pair all of that with the fact that downlight into side sig is unjumpable. Meaning, if someone blows their dodge and they're in like orange, they're dead. Yeah, this sig, it's hard to argue that it's not his best right now. For the honorable mention, I'm giving it to the Sword Downsig. This move is very underrated still. Hitbox is crazy. Priority is insane. I mean, yeah. Do you see this right now? Do you see this right now? Do you see what I'm a cameraman again. With the most recent balance changes, I feel like we're going to see Thor just come full swing back into the meta, and if we're talking full swing with core, of course we gotta talk full swing of the side sig. I don't think this sig has ever been bad. I don't think it will ever be bad. On release, it came out near instantly, and also killed near instantly, and also disappeared and recovered near instantly, and now it just does all of those, but like slightly less good. So, you know, it's one of the best hammer sigs in the game. Kind of similar to the Terros one, also kind of similar to Reno Gun side sig. You can just travel super far off stage with it, KO super early. I feel like if you put this sig on most hammer characters, their kit just gets better, and that's really a sign of how good a sig could be, because it means that the sig isn't just working in your kit with your weapon set, right? It can kind of work on anyone, and that's what this is. It works on anyone. Honorable mention, of course, going to the lightning bolt. The utility it gives you with the recovery, the hitboxing, it's got it all. This sig is so fun. Yeah, I don't know. I play entire games where I just use this to kill because I like being lightning. It reminds me of Percy Jackson, and I can finally become a fully demigod boy. For the Grim, it's gotta be the Axe Downsig. I think I talked about this last time. I think I also put this in my top 10 SIGs video a while ago. Yeah, Axe grounded move, also it spikes, also it hits high, also GC, also damage, also fast, also KOs, also everything. This SIG is everything. I mean, this is really the defining thing about Ulgrim's SIG kit. And not just his Axe, his entire SIG kit. This is the move. Like, this is the Ulgrim SIG, and there's good reason for it. I mean, having a move like this on a slower weapon like the Axe is really invaluable. Honorable mention is going to go to the side SIG, because I feel like this is one of those moves where you think it's not going to kill, and then you explode off the map, which gives it some cheese factor, because, you know, it's higher risk. You don't know if you're going to land it. If you don't land it, you might get punished. But if you do land it, it's over. You're done. I'm pretty sure I also put this as the best SIG in the last one, but yeah, I think Val's Sword Nsig is just so good. You've probably heard its praises from a lot of people at this point, and it was nerfed in this most recent patch, but the nerf wasn't too big, and yeah, it's still one of those moves that's so good. It was a move that, on release, honestly kind of sucked. It was kind of terrible, but through a series of some tweaks and changes to the game design and also buffs, it got a lot better, and now it's one of those that is really oppressive and kind of hard to deal with if you're playing against the Val, because it's very difficult to punish, has a good amount of priority, a little less priority horizontally now, but still good, and great angle, really. You get lifted into the air and hit people on the ground, very useful, and a reversal as well if you're trying to knock people off stage, catch someone trying to dodge in, let's say the Scarlet's dodging in, and then I hit her back out. The only downside is that it doesn't have the most amount of force, but in general, that's what you're expecting with Val anyway, so I can't really knock that against her, kind of like Kaya. Honorable mention is going to the Sword Side Sig. I mean, if we're talking cheese factor, this thing has 3 different versions, so that's like triple of cheese right there. You got 3 holes in your cheese. It's like a 3-hole punch, but yeah, I mean, this version just spikes and kills super early. The wall version you almost never see. Also, Vector's Lance Nsig has it. I don't know if a lot of people know that, but yeah, and so if someone's trying to ground pound, you can interrupt it like that. And then on stage, you can leap over certain light attacks and even some signatures with this movement, and then catch someone, land them, and then try to kill them. One caveat though is that if you're playing Stevani, the honorable mention changes to the Gauntlet side sig. Now half of you can guess left and half of you can guess right. Which way am I going? Right now, you have no idea. Speaking of Vector, I think his best signature is the Bow Downsig. It's just a super solid move. You can use it out of strings and then punish dodges with it. They punish people on the ledge, dash in and use it. Very, very quick, so people can't really react to the startup of it. It's kind of like Ulgrim's Axe Downsig, but if you put it horizontally and on a bow. So yeah, with how much I praised Ulgrim's Lance? Axe Downsig. I think that should speak for itself why this move is good. The honorable mention is the aforementioned Vector Lance Nsig. It can travel up the wall like that. Very, very cool. But on its own, it's already a great signature. It doesn't even need that bonus little cheese factor to make its way on this list. It's one of my favorite SIGs in the game. A lot of priority, KOs way earlier than you think it would, covers people trying to jump or dodge up. So let's say they like to jump out of Lance, something like that. You can catch them with a GC. Yeah, very strong move, especially on a character like Vector. And like every move on Lance, it has a lot of priority. So that's always a good thing. Very good move. Nice. Next. Alright, for my two choices are his two special SIGs. We got the side SIG on the Scythe, then the side SIG on the Axe. I'm going to give the edge to the Scythe here, just because I feel like its range, its priority, its use in team combos as well, and also Scythe having a harder time killing than Axe oftentimes with individual hits. I'm going to give it to this one. It's just insane. You can knock people off stage. It was nerfed in this most recent patch, has less stun, so no longer are you just doomed to eternal fate at low HP. But, I mean, the active input is still super good. You can reversal it if you want to. You can spike if you want to. It's the perfect Scythe SIG, in all honesty. You can send people off stage, or you can gain stage control. It's like, what more could you want from a weapon that sends people off stage and gains stage control? You know what I mean? Also, the way that it works is kind of like a light attack. As you saw right there, I used it, and then I could instantly move and, like, try and punish. I don't know how that ground pound came out. That was not supposed to happen. But yeah, and then the Axe side SIG. Speaking of light attack, this is also a light attack pretty much as a heavy attack. So very, very quick. You really cannot react to the startup. And while it doesn't really kill super early, it's just a great move to have. Also, it has a special effect when you charge it. Like I mentioned, Volkov's two special SIGs. Yeah, it's just super good and covers a good amount of distance. And this hitbox is also good. Look at this. That's a cone. It's a shape. It's a crescent moon. I just noticed that. I actually never knew that. If you hold it, bye-bye. For Vrax, I think it's got to be the Blaster's Downsig. If I think about the thing that makes Vrax's guns so good and also so unique, it's this move. It's the range, it's the capabilities. Honestly, Princess Bubblegum is a bit of a nerf. This is one of the few crossovers where I feel like the SIG is actually worse. Gives more of a visual cue, but yeah. Nonetheless, it's very difficult to react to, and you just have so much grounded range. Now, guns in general, killing range on the ground is not very large. Other range, you know, these sidelights are good, but these sidelights aren't going to kill anybody. Downlight is the thing that's going to do that, and you're going to hit that most likely close to stacked. But with Vrax, you have killing options all the way from over here. You're in Nova Scotia, and you're still killing them. So, yeah, very good move. Also good amount of damage for Vrax's low force, for it being a utility SIG. Also, you might find yourself hitting this move slightly charged often, so it's actually even more damage than just the base value, because, you know, you're holding it in place, and then they fall into it, or they dodge into it, or something like that. Yeah, just an unstoppable move. Thank you, announcer. Now let's talk about the Downsig. This move, yeah, it doesn't feel like a low strength character move. Yeah, no, it's a good one. It's a good one. Wushang, my opinion, I don't think has changed ever since he's been released. Side SIG, I think is his best SIG. Nsig, I think is honorable mention. Yeah, Spear Side SIG is probably the best Spear SIG in the game, like I said before, with the J-Yun. It's just so fast, covers the exact spot that Spear needs, which is on the ground. Also right in front of you is super nice because of Spear's dead zones. Yeah, it's a perfect SIG. It's a 10 out of 10 SIG. It's an 11 out of 10 SIG if you're playing Poe. And then the Spear Nsig just covers the air super well, active hitbox, you know, a lot of room, a lot of space to breathe, to do what you want to do, and super quick, hard to punish, and perfect for team combos. I mean, this is one of the best moves in the game in 2v2, so gets that boost as well for me. Makes a cool sound. Nice. For Zol, I was actually pretty tempted to give at least one of the spots to this Axe Nsig. I feel like it's pretty underutilized, and it's kind of crazy how much space it covers, and it can just KO like that. But I don't know, it's hard to ignore the strength of the cannon SIGs. The cannon Downsig in particular, I mean 30 damage for a utility SIG like this that covers the ledge perfectly, that can KO like that. Yeah, in general you don't really see Zol SIGs too often because Zol on their own can just kind of KO, and also because they're slower, they're higher risk, so, you know, lower risk options, throw out an Axe Enlight versus throwing out like an Axe Downsig. But this is one of those that you do end up seeing in everyday games because of how it covers the ledge, especially in 2v2. The amount of space is crazy. Someone trying to dare or punish this height, it's kind of like the Roland Downsig on sword. And yeah, I said that one was super good. So it lines up. It's at least morally consistent. The move I want to talk about for the honorable mention slot is this cannon Nsig. I mean, how many moves just send you flying across the stage? You can go flying off stage like that, and then you grab people, and then they're also going flying off stage, so they're even closer to the blast zone. Yeah, they're already getting sent off stage because you're playing cannon. And on top of that, now you have a slippy sliding move that KOs instantly. It's kind of crazy to have a move like this in your kit. Like, you saw what health bar hit the mat? You saw what that was? That was not okay. This move, if we're talking cheese factor, this move has got the cheese. It also has this, which is kind of cheese. Maybe not really. This is like a mouse trap, which I guess is cheese. Nearing the end here, thankfully, I'm starting to lose my voice. It's Yumiko's Downsig on the hammer. This move is really the most unique hammer sig in the entire game. One of the most unique sigs, period, in the entire game. No other character can have this amount of area denial and stage control just from a signature, and then move freely. You can also hit people on the ground if you're better than me. Get true combos out of it. Set up traps. Set up edge guards. Stuff like that. It's just so good. A lot of people, I think, fall into the trap if they send it out and then expect people to just, you know, completely respect it. But you can also send it out and then just move around, use it as a bait and stuff like that. I think high-level Yumikos are just so hard to deal with because of this one sig. Again, most unique hammer sig, if not most unique sig in the entire game. No one has stage control like this. Very, very, very good. Now for the honorable mention, I'm gonna give it to the Nsig. This is the Omega cheese move. I mean, this move, if you use it GC off stage, the priority it has, look at this priority. Look at this priority. Yeah, you've probably been hit by this. I know I've been hit by this, but it just spikes. It sends downward. You can get some whack true combos if you like hit someone into the ceiling. I'm not going to do it right now because I am tired and I don't want to try to hit it because I know it's going to take a while. I know this is not going to take a while though. That one's going to take one try and one take only. 2 takes. Thank you. Finally, we've got Zarya, and it's the Nsig on gauntlets. I think this move is insanely good. You put this sig up against Petra sig, and they're honestly pretty comparable. I think Petra only wins it out because hers hits grounded, but yeah, I mean, this is so good for recovering. It's got the distance, it's got the speed, it's got the Hertbox Manipulation, it's got the force, it's got the angle, it's got the dunk. I mean, not only is it satisfying, but it's damn good. This is the honorable mention. It's the quickie 1-2 on the gauntlets. It's kind of like core side sig. It's just so good. It has an insane hitbox, a great disjoint. It hits close to you, hits far from you. Yeah, a good amount of force too. Priority. It's got everything. And then also this move, bada bing, bada boom. You got the dunk. That's the video. It's so late. I gotta get some sleep. It's nearing 24 hours since I last slept, so that probably explains why this commentary was so miserable to listen to. I apologize for that. But at the very least, I hope you got something out of it. It confirms your pre-existing beliefs and feel good. That is, I don't know, the goal, I suppose. But yep, goodbye, take care, I'll see you in the next one. Hopefully I'll be better and not as dead.